With just 19 days until the election, President Donald Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden will speak to voters tonight in dueling town halls on different networks. Join me now on Skype to take a look at where things stand ahead of next month's presidential election is Christopher Bedford, senior editor for the Federalist. Chris, welcome back. Always good to have you on. So tonight, instead of a face-to-face debate, we're going to have separate town halls giving both President Trump and Joe Biden a chance to speak directly to voters. Let's start with the president. What does he need to do tonight?
I think President Trump needs to calm down some of his supporters who were upset by his debate performance. The first Donald Trump-Joe Biden debate was a cause for a lot of excitement amongst Donald Trump's supporters and the people who'd been waiting for him to come out and really list off his accomplishments and go through all the different things he said he was going to do and which he has done. And this is not just here in the Beltway, and it's not just friends and family. It's going out with other reporters from the Federalist, going to Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, talking to people, and there's a widespread feeling of disappointment and how the president did. For a lot of his supporters, he is their champion. He's someone who's fighting for them. And to see him not do well in the big title match that they expected him to win, it didn't sit well with them. I don't think he lost too much of the base, but it certainly shook them. And I think tonight will be an opportunity for him to try and list off exactly what his administration has accomplished in a way that he has done so in the past.
What about Joe Biden? What do you think he needs to do to convince voters he's the one to vote for on Election Day?
If he can have a back-to-back performance where he is not calling into the lid at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., where he's actually out, where he's forming complete sentences, it's a very low bar for the vice president. But we hadn't seen him in public as voters in weeks and weeks and weeks up to that debate. And during that debate, he did fairly well. He had some good lines, and he appeared well. He communicated well. The same thing during his DNC speech. Now, these are really brief moments in what should be a daily interactions with him that we aren't seeing at all. But he still wants to help assure some of his voters and some of the press and other people who've been backing him that he is a guy who they can count on, who's reliable, who's capable of governing. Because right now, his opponents and even some of his supporters are doubting that.
Chris, let's talk about the polls now. Many, if not all of them, show Biden in the lead. I know you recently took a look at Michigan and Wisconsin for the Federalist. What did you find?
I found that there's been a certain switch in the GOP across these states. We went to Wisconsin, we went to Michigan, and a little bit of time in Minnesota, but more so in the two former. We found that there is a definite switch that we've seen where a lot of suburban college-educated women who used to form a sort of basis of the Republican Party, be reliable voters for the Republican Party, are actually turned off from President Donald Trump and the new populist surge, largely by issues such as tone. However, we also found that a lot of those blue Democrats, huge swaths of them, who had originally switched, who voted for Barack Obama, who were traditional Democrats, who'd voted Democrat their whole life, and had switched to Donald Trump, were even more committed now. We also saw that there was a lot more road signs when previously there never were, although that's typically a sign of party organization. And local politicians we talked to and all across these different swing districts, places that voted for Obama and then for Donald Trump, said that people had been afraid to admit and refusing to admit that they were vote for Donald Trump in 2016, yet he won. Now people are very active, very vocal. There's a lot of excitement for him over there. And if I was with the Trump campaign, I would say that it was a good thing for them.
Well, as we draw closer to the November election, there are growing charges of censorship by social media platforms, in particular Twitter. And today we learned the Senate Judiciary Committee will vote next week to subpoena its CEO, Jack Dorsey. How significant do you think that is? And what are your thoughts as this all unfolds?
It's been an unbelievable 24 hours of news. I mean, I guess that's hard to stand out in 2020 when it seems like there's a new news cycle every single day. But this was a bombshell story about corruption and problems and real salaciousness involving the Biden family and possibly Vice President Biden himself. That, like many other bombshells, could have disappeared after a single news cycle. Now, what made this different was a complete and insane reaction from Twitter and Facebook, who essentially pulled the curtain back from the wizard and did what they've been accused of doing. Not only did they censor the story in the New York Post, which is the fourth largest publication in America, but then they actually went after the personal account of the White House spokeswoman. They went after liberal reporters. They went after conservative reporters. They even went after the House Judiciary Committee, which is elected by Americans, saying it censoring their material. That's a massive, massive, massive overreach. And I predict it's only a matter of time before we start to see them go after even harder against the president of the United States. Now this is a major news story that people are going to pay attention to. The problem for Republicans is what exactly are they going to do, and how are they going to hurt these corporations, punish these corporations, hold these very powerful corporations accountable for what they're doing while still protecting free speech.
Yeah, Chris, very interesting. We'll see how this all shakes out. Christopher Bedford, senior editor for The Federalist. Thanks so much, Chris.
Thank you.